اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. طيب. Let's get it this way. Inshallah, this is going to be a Q&A session. You can go ahead and put your question in the comments, inshallah, and I'll get the chance to answer that if I can, inshallah. So please go ahead and put your question. This is going to be a Q&A session. سؤال وجواب إن شاء الله تبارك وتعالى. Q&A session. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is going to be a Q&A session, inshallah. Q&A session. Get the chance to put your question, inshallah. I'll try my best to answer. If I can, put the questions in the comment section, inshallah. In the comment section. هذه أسئلة وأجوبة نجيب ما استطعنا إلى ذلك سبيلا إن شاء الله. Going to be waiting for your questions until we get the first question, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. All right. Those who are following, those who are watching, you're all welcome. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulillah. وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه واهتدى بهداه. All praise is due to Allah, and may the best of peace and blessings be on the soul of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. My dearest brothers and sisters, again, inshallah, this is going to be a community open session where you can ask questions, and I will do my best to get to these questions, inshallah. You can put that in the comments. If you're watching us right now, just down below in the comments, put your question. I'll get to it and I will answer that, inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. I got a question today I'm going to share with you first. In the meantime, put your questions, inshallah. A sister asked me, and a brother as well, a couple asked me today, about abortion. Without names, obviously, or anything, the sister is around 2 months old, pregnant, and she's asking about the abortion. Can I take this baby? Can I miscarry, or can I get rid of that, or abort? I would say, after thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and praising Him and seeking help and assistance from Him, abortion or aborting a baby in Islam is such a huge crime. The stand of Islam on that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ خَشْيَةَ إِمْلَاقٍ. Do not kill your children for fear of poverty. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ مِنْ إِمْلَاقٍ. Do not kill your children because of poverty. So whether you are expecting poverty because of that in the future, or you already have poverty and you think that this having a child would reduce your chances, well, something that you cannot afford, abortion in Islam is almost equal of taking a soul. In Islam, let me just give you a quick background. In Islam, we know that the soul is such a sacred thing. Soul is something, a secret from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sacred, and it's a secret from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For each, not only for Adam. When it comes to bodies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shaped the body of Sayyidina Adam himself. Allah shaped the body of Adam himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he asked the angels to prostrate for Adam. When it came to the soul, as far as our bodies, then the biological process comes on. It's not every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shape us, but it's a biological process. It goes by also in a miraculous way by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what's really sacred and important is the soul, the nafs, the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. Every time the fetus is in the womb of the mother, at certain time, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, at certain time, Allah sends an angel, according to the hadith. يُرْسِلُ اللَّهُ مَلَكًا يُؤْمَرْ بِأَرْبَعْ كَلِمَةٍ. An angel sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being ordered to implement 4 things. But above all, He will give that soul and life to that child. So Allah decides a soul will get to somebody, and just because this person happened to be attached to you, you decide to take it. That's an intervention of the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can talk about some exception. The most common exception is if that fetus or pregnancy لو كان هذا الحمل إما حياة الأم وإما حياة الولد. If there is a life-threatening situation to the mother, there is a confirmed life-threatening situation by continuing to having this marriage, this is a different story. And the scholars will look at عندنا حياة قائمة وحياة محتملة. We have a life that's already standing, the life of the mother, and we have another life, new life, very respected, the life of the baby, but this is not as confirmed as the life of the mother. Not as out there, it's probable. We know it's there, but it's not yet out there. They would say if we have to choose, then it's clear that we will choose the life of the mother. After the physicians, the well-versed, qualified physicians would decide it is life-threatening for the mother. Then in this case, you may have an excuse, the mother. The decision is always for the mother now, or for the father and the mother, the parents. They can decide, they may abort in this case. They may abort in this case. If there's no life-threatening situation, then absolutely you cannot intervene. You cannot intervene. Why? Because you did not create it. Simply, it's in you, you did not create it. This body is yours as well. Can you take your own life? You are not in position to take your own life. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Allah said, do not kill yourselves, and simply because it's not yours. It's not your life. You were granted this life, and you were given this life by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You did not make this life yourself, and that's why you cannot take it. That's your own life. In the same way, the life of your child, you do not make this life. The term is, let's make children. We don't make children. We don't make children. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who makes children. Discussing the technical term, and obviously we have to also differentiate in here. Is it all at the same level? If somebody aborted at any point in the life of that fetus, they are not all the same. They are not at the same level. What is the point that we can take this life and it will make a difference? The majority of scholars are talking about 120 days. After 120 days for majority of scholars, life is being given to the baby. You cannot, it's respected. It's a life given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يعني بعد 120 يوم. But minority of scholars, and that's what I go with, and it looks like supported by the physician or the scientific evidence. It is talking about 40 days, 40. Allah giving life to the soul after 40 days. The technical wording of the hadith is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Allah 3 stages nutfa, mudgha, alaqa. Whether these three stages, the hadith say they happen in 40. So whether it's 40 days and then another 40 days and then another 40 days to make the total 120, and then Allah gives the soul, or according to one authentic hadith as well, we are talking about 140 days with the three stages happening within those 40 days. I a little bit read about the science, consulted with some doctors, and it looks like many or most of the main processes of the new life happen within that period, 40, 41 days, 42 days, and around that time the heart starts beating and we see some signs of life, biological life in that fetus in there. I would say it's such a risky topic or issue to think of, thinking that we are in charge of that baby, thinking that, no, I don't think I can afford it now, no, I don't need it now, no, it's not. Yani wallahi subhanallah, what should I say in here? I have seen some cases myself, some brothers, some sisters that I advised, and alhamdulillah they took my advice not to abort, and I see those children coming to our community and growing up, and I teach them later on, and every time I look at them I say subhanallah, this was not supposed to be here, or was almost about not to be here now. This beautiful young boy in one case and twin in another case, alhamdulillah they are here. At certain point their mother thought that, I need to abort. We don't want to do that. You don't want to know, or you do know how many people out there are willing to pay tons of money just to get one child. It's a blessing from Allah. People are not capable of having it. Some people, and they go to all physicians and all shuyukh to make dua, and they pray and they make dua for themselves. It doesn't happen. Now it's the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you. It's a blessing for you. A new life coming through you. I want you to think about it this way. Not just the, like we mostly do here in the West. Think centrally, that the world is revolving around me. It's my body, I can do whatever I want with it. It's my decision, it's my freedom. That is not freedom. That is wild. When you decide to take lives, that is not freedom and shouldn't be freedom. When it comes to lives of human beings, we have to have some serious talks in here, because at one point, maybe another lady, your mom could decide, or dad can decide, that they don't want you and they just end your life and you won't be here. That's a divine business. That's God business, not my business or your business. I want you to think about it this way. I may sound harsh, but that's talking about blood now. That's talking about killing. That's talking about souls. We have to respect life, my dearest brothers and sister, because life is very much respected in our religion. I also want to remind you that, subhanallah, this is not only my decision, it's Allah has a say into that. Allah has a say. He said, don't kill, and that's a killing. Don't kill awladakum. Not only after they come and you kill them, obviously this is horrific, but before they even come to this life. I would like to say that if you have any question, feel free to put it in the comments there. If you have any question, please put it in the comments. I'll get to it. This is a Q&A session, inshallah. If anybody got any question, feel free to put it. We need some interaction, inshallah azza jalla. I receive tons of questions at very awkward times. People after salah, the imam is tired, giving khutbah until midnight. All questions are welcome at all time. But this is the time right now. This is the time to put your questions. When it is time to put your questions, take advantage of that, inshallah. And obviously private questions, we can discuss them later on, inshallah, unless all the questions we may have are private. But again, coming back to this topic, which is very serious and very important, is really let's respect life. Let's think about it from different perspective, from different aspects. You never know. Maybe this child that you don't want will be your blessing, will be your angel, will be the one who will take care of you when you get old, will be the best of your kids. You may think I have enough kids, good kids, beautiful kids, but maybe all of them will be of no benefit to you. That is the one that will take you to Jannah. That is the one that will help you in this dunya the best or the most. You never know. Allah knows, you never know. What would you say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment when He said, I decided to give life through you to XYZ, to that fetus? Why did you oppose my decision? Why? What would you say? I think it's very big issue that we really need to pay attention to. طيب, it looks like no questions are coming through. I would like to highlight something. I receive a lot of questions about inheritance, marriage, divorce. And there are some common mistakes when it comes to a few areas in here. When it comes to something like the final will. The final will, as we know it here in the States, is totally different than the Islamic inheritance system. The rules of inheritance in Islam is not the final will. The final will is totally something different than what we have in Islam. Inheritance in Islam or a tarika or estate in Islam is everything you leave. You're not supposed to touch your money or say my money goes left and right. As long as you are alive, your money is yours. You can divide it the way you want, and you should do that also according to Islam. إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا. They won't be extravagant in giving, or it's not too much giving, it's not too much miserly, somewhere in between. When you give your children, you make sure that you are trying to achieve justice in there, not preferring anyone over the other. When you're trying to do the right thing as you're alive. But if you think it's your responsibility to divide as a Muslim, to divide your inheritance after you die, it's not. The system is already out there. There is a full system in place. If you have a wife or the wife has a husband, who will take what? If you have a brother, if you have a sister, if you have a child, if you have all family members or many of Ashabul Furud, people who would qualify to take from inheritance. The will in Islam, pay attention to that. Al-wasiyyatu fil Islam hiya fi hudud al-thuluth. Only within 1/3. Power that you have over your money after you die is only within 1/3. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, as he was asked by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, how much should I give in wasiyya or to give after my life as a will to somebody? He said 1/3. Shall I give the whole money, half of the money, too much? 1/3. He said 1/3, and it's even too much. Pay attention to this coming point. The will is not supposed to be given to somebody who will inherit, because there is a system in place. Your son will inherit. Your daughter will inherit. Your wife or spouse will inherit. Your mom will inherit. Your dad will inherit. All of these have in the Quran. Allah said, who will take what? Who will take what? Like, for example, if you die and you have a wife, then it's only either one of two cases. You have children, you don't have children, either from her or from anyone else. You die, you have children, your wife in this case will have 1/8. 1/8. 1 divided by 8, a-thumun, 1/8. If you die and you have a wife after you and you don't have children, then she will take 1/4, 1/4 of your estate. Just as an example. So the system is there in place. The final will should be given to anybody other than those who will inherit. You cannot give it to your wife or husband. You cannot give it to your father or mother. You cannot give it to your son or daughter. You cannot. That is for charity causes, for things like that. But we do have a system in Islam. Some people might not be aware of that. They think it is the final will. I leave it, give half to that daughter. You don't do that. You don't want to do that. It's actually done against the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't want to do that. So there is a full, total system for inheritance in Islam. For those who are watching us, please go ahead and feel free to put your question. I will get to your question, Sister Saliha and Brother Munir. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So go ahead, and we might have, inshallah, full course or workshop on al-mirath, inheritance. You might find out, I explained it several years ago, you might find it on my YouTube, the rules of inheritance. Review the few ayat in Surah An-Nisa, chapter by the name of the women. You find rules about mirath or inheritance in Islam and who will take what. Sister Saliha, assalamu alaikum, assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have a friend, she doesn't have kids. She adopt a girl. She's worried that her family and her husband's family will not give her from the inheritance if they die. What is the right way to keep that adopted girl? Very good question, Jazakallah khairan. This is again one of the misconceptions in Islam. Can we adopt in Islam? Yes, you can adopt in Islam. In what sense? In the sense of finding a child who doesn't have a breadwinner, a supporter, a family, a father, mother, orphan. You can get that child and provide and deal with him emotionally as a son or as a daughter. Can you give him your name? In Islam, no. You can never give him your name. Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran in Surah Al-Ahzab, "Udu'uhum li'abaihim." Call them by their parents' name. Blood relation and lineage in Islam is sacred. Sacred. So many rules in Islam will be based on that. You can never mix it. You can never get somebody whose blood is from someone else, bloodline someone else, and then give him your bloodline. You can never do that. It's Allah who decides this, who will be from which blood. Can you support that person in terms of standing for them just like your child? Yes, you can. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ana wa kafirul yatimi fil jannati kahatayn." Me and the person who sponsors an orphan and takes care of an orphan will be with me in Jannah like this, as close as this. But you cannot give him your name. He's not a full child. In the sense of, he can get married to your other, if he's a boy, he can get married to your other daughter. Because he's not a son. He is totally a strange person. You're dealing with him like a son or like a daughter. They can get married. They cannot inherit from you. They cannot Islamically inherit from you. Here jumps the case of wasiyyah. Subhanallah, that's the beauty of Islam. Final will comes in cases like that. I have an adopted child. He grew up with me and everything, and that's just like my son. But he does not qualify to even a penny in Islam from your inheritance. Your prescribed inheritance based on the Quran. But Allah gives you a free will over 1/3 of your equity or estate. You can give him that because he's not one of the heirs. He's not one of the inheritors. So Sister Salihah, you are not supposed, that adopted girl is not your daughter in the sense of the Islamic sense of the word. She's not your daughter. You're not her mother. You're her mother-like. She's your daughter. You're going to get a great reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Great reward of taking care of her. But when it comes to legal rulings, Islamic rulings, she's not your daughter. She cannot take from your inheritance. You may give her in your final will within maximum 1/3 of your property, of your money. You want to give her in your life the whole money, you're free. As long as your intention is not to prevent others. If your intention is, let me give her that, I don't want my brother to take anything. You don't want to do that. Because Allah knows better. But if you happen to give her all your money while alive, it's your money. You are alive. You can give it left and right. You can burn. You can set it in fire like that. Not saying that's right, but it's yours. Free will. After you die, Islamically you have 1/3. Power over 1/3 to give it to anyone who does not qualify. Adopted girl in this case would not qualify. I hope this is clear enough, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And again, these are the misconceptions that we really need to ask scholars. And I can always refer you to the references. Read over Surah Al-Ahzab. It happens with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who adopted Zayd ibn Haritha and even called him Zayd ibn Muhammad, the son of Muhammad. And Allah revealed the whole surah or many ayat that call them. وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدْعِيَاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. Allah said He did not call your adopted sons. Allah did not call them your sons. You did. Your children. Allah did not call them their children. They are not your children. I think I'm clear enough as far as this point. Let's move on. Wallahu a'lam. Can you please give more advices and show us the right way according to Sharia on how a Muslim buy a house in the US? That is the most famous question. Thank you, Brother Munir Farzan. How to buy a house according to the Islamic rulings in the West in general, anywhere. Usury or any interest bearing transactions is against the rules of Islam. Interest is not accepted in Islam. Giving or taking interest in Islam is not acceptable. It leads, why? It leads to all of these bubble economy that we see that burst every now and then. It goes in cycle, it bursts because it's a fake economy. It takes advantage of people. It lures people by taking money from them in the essence of it, by taking money but not offering service, offering money, offering them free money, lending them money, or selling them money for more money. And by having this, there's nothing being produced. Allah wants you to put money into the market to make production happen, to make people work. Banks lend people money, and then they go buy houses and everything, but they are basically selling them money for more money in return. That's not acceptable in Islam. How? The question is, how can we buy houses? First of all, we should get rid of the greed and the consumption based life that we are. As long as we are having this, we will not have a financially stable life, never. Even if you have 6 figures, 7 figures, live outside of your means, which is the way in the West in general. Consumption, buy. Your garage is full. Things you did not even use, and then garage sale, give it for free, give it away. Call somebody to even give somebody money to haul all of that out, or let them go. What is that? Let's be rational. Let's just buy what we want, and let's want what we can afford only. That's simple as that. Even our countries, all countries, you don't want to know how many billions, trillions of dollars America is borrowing, or any other country. Why is that? Let's live within our means. We produce that much. That's how much our dollar is equal. That's how much our whatever, and we live within that means. I don't have to get this mattress and be tied in debt for 2 years. That's crazy. Get this mattress for $99.99, whatever, and don't pay anything for 3 months. Why? I don't have the money. I don't need the mattress. I sleep on the floor until I get the money, buy the mattress, and I live debt-free. Anyways, yes, you can have a house. Yes, house is a need in Islam, but work hard. Save money. I'm not a realtor. I'm not an expert in this field, but I can guarantee you that there are many ways. I have bought my house myself, Islamic way, from an American guy. You have a good, save, wait, be patient, rent, live in an apartment several years until you have very good down payment. That's one way. There are multiple ways. Find an owner financed house, for example. Somebody who is old, doesn't owe anything to the bank, he's selling. You give him that huge chunk of money, he knows you're serious. Have a talk with him. Within 3 years, within 5 years, they pay you off. Done. One way to do it. Find a house that needs something, needs a carpet, needs painting, that the house is going to be plummeting. And you can get a small house and move on. Get a small unit to live on. Keep it for a few years, keep saving, sell this unit out. You're going to make money. Real estate, which is real investment. It's real production in there. It goes up after a few years. Choose the right time, sell it, more of your saving, and get to that. Many reports out there show that those who are renting are financially better off than those who are owning. You put yourself in debt for 30 years. Are you going to live 30 years anyway? 30 years you will be paying big chunk of money every month. And on top of that, you will be paying, and if you fail at any point for 2-3 months, whatever the term is, they take the house from you. Whatever you have paid for the past several years, 10 years, 15 years, thank you, bye-bye. The bank claims the house foreclosed, and that's why you find yourself getting a sledgehammer and hitting and breaking the house. What is that? That's not right. You go out, nothing. Right? You pay, if you are renting, for example, you will pay usually renting versus owning. It's going to be smaller. Try to live not the luxury house, 7 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, whatever. Live within your means, ya akhi. Live within your means. Start small. Then you can grow big. I guarantee you, you will get bigger than you can imagine if you live within your means. Because Allah will put barakah. And financially, Warren Buffett, go read Warren Buffett as one of the most successful investors. He encourages, he gave 7 advices of how to be successful investor. One of them is never borrow money. Don't borrow money. Don't invest. Get somebody else's money and invest. Live within your own means. That's not my words. That is the words of the successful people. So find a way. Can I go to the Islamic financing? Islamic wise, we have some issues with all the financing, but they are very, very high in a much better situation than the conventional banks. They are offering a solid Islamic alternative, but it's not 100% Sharia compliant. It's not 100% like halal. It is halal, generally it try to avoid so many aspects because there are so many details into it. There is riba involved. There is gharar or ambiguity involved in that. There is so many details, but the Sharia compliant banks or lenders in here, they're not all of them at the same level too. I don't want to give names, but they are out there. We have studied them in a conference, and Majma' Fuqaha al-Sharia, the AMJA studied that, and they recommended either Guidance or University Bank or Devon Bank, even though Devon Bank is a Jewish bank, it's not an Islamic bank. Amongst few other banks as well. Amin Fund here in San Francisco, that's not it, but there are several others who give really good options. But generally speaking, advice from your younger brother or older brother or just your brother in Islam, you don't want to put yourself in debt for 30 years. That's to live in a nice place. And reality, I'm not making anything up. As I'm speaking, I can give you 10 cases right now. People got old, by the time they pay their house off, 30 years down the road, if you are 30 right now, you're going to be 60 by then. If you are 40 and Allah give you life, by the time you pay your house off, you're going to be 70. What are you going to do? The house is too big for you. The kids are gone. You will turn out and give it to any gold diggers in there or somebody who is trying to, whatever company they call it, they pay you some money until you die and then they take the house. You've been working like a slave for the bank, and no, ya akhi, you don't want to do that. Honestly, you need to invest this money. If you have some money, my advice to you, it might look like not as an imam speaking, but I know what I'm talking about. Go invest this amount of money, make it grow, make it big, go big, make it more money, put it in the stock market, right? That's halal there. And try to choose the right companies. You're not gonna choose casino, you're not gonna choose pornography companies, choose the right companies, but that is a market there, up or down. It will grow. When the money grows, then you get to the level that you can comfortably buy a house, cash, and do it and move on. Anyways, so this, and we can talk about more options, Brother Munir, if you are close by, I can give you or share with you my experience. Sister Dil Hussein, Assalamu alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can we adopt as a single woman? I think I answered this question. Yes, you can adopt in the sense of having a child, taking care of a child, dealing with him or her as a son or daughter, but they are not son or daughter. You cannot give them your name. They will not inherit you. They will not be blood connected to you. You have to just keep that in mind. You can give them from the will, as I explained earlier in the video, but they don't have a share in the inheritance because they're not full blood son or daughter. Can a person buy a car or home by finance? I mean with interest? Same answer that I give. Live within your means. Get a used car. Get it cheap. In America, you can get very good cars for very cheap prices. It is just this greed of consumption. I'm sorry, I'm straightforward with you. I want this brand new 2021 Dodge Ram, $50,000. But the same job, believe it or not, the same job taking you from point A to point B with a nice, decent car can happen with $2,000, $3,000 car, maybe less. The first car I had was $700, Toyota Corolla, Japanese dependable car, like a rock. It takes me point A, point B fast, never broke, beautiful. And then I upgraded, and then I went on. But answering some technical questions, you don't want to get there. If you decide to, you go for only for those, some offers, interest-free, 5 years, sometimes 3 years, zero interest. You can get to that, and you have to strictly pay it off within that period so you do not pay any interest, because if you pay any interest or take any interest, that's usury, and Allah said there is a war against those who do that. وإياكم, Sister Saliha. Brother Hamid Argi, if a Muslim is getting married but his spouse have a very sick uncle, has cancer, is it Islamic to wait until he dies, or should he ignore it and get married hoping for him to get better? Trying to understand, Ya Hamid. If a Muslim is getting married but his spouse, you mean his future? A Muslim is getting married but his spouse has a very sick uncle who has cancer. Is it Islamic to wait until he dies, or should he ignore it and get married hoping for him to get better? Maybe you're talking socially. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Socially, that's up to you. You decide. If that's the question. Socially, can I get married now? Socially, you decide. But Islamically, yes, you can get married. You know, it's not related. Somebody's uncle has a cancer. You may explain better to me, but they are not related, if I understand it correctly. Is it halal to do so? To do what, Sister Dil? Can we Muslim wrote a will before passing away? I think I talked about this. Yes, you can, but that's not the inheritance. That is only, you can define on that 1/3, Islamically within 1/3 of your inheritance to be given to somebody who will not inherit. Let me add to that, because maybe I was supposed to mention that earlier. The will, if you live in the West, in America or anywhere, is very important to have a will, because we go by the laws in these countries. We do not impose any laws. They don't know what Sharia or what inheritance or what this or that. The will, if there is a will, they will just, that's a decree. They will go by what's in there. So you better say in there that my inheritance will go. Check with a lawyer. You might go according to Sharia, or it might go, my son will take that much, which is, you make your calculation, check with your imam, sheikh, scholar, and put it, as Allah says, put it in there in your final will. And you might also add somebody like an adopted son who would not have a share. You give him a share within 1/3, put it all in there. On top of that, and even before that, is if you have kids, or if you are a new Muslim, or you have a family which is not Muslim, you need to decide and define in there what should happen to your body. Because I have seen very heartbreaking cases where a family would take a Muslim sister who accepted Islam but never had a will, claim the body and go excremate the body, burn it. In Islam, that's against Islam. We bury in earth. We don't burn. It's totally against Islam. They took her. We were not able to offer the service, the prayer for her, or take the body or wash or anything. So it's very important, and more important if you have kids. There was a case several years ago, very nice couples driving their car, I think it was in Michigan, and then they had a huge, horrific car accident. They had 2 children in the back. Both parents died. Children survived. Muslim community jump in. Those are the children of our brother and our sister. Excuse me? What do you mean? There is no will, there is nothing. Children were taken. You need to define that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, protect our children. You need to define now, ما حق امرئ. If you are a Muslim and you are alive, don't let 2 days or 2 nights pass without having your will ready under your pillow, meaning have it ready. Check with Muslim lawyers so you can have that in there, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. Let me check the other pages for other questions. Brother Nouri, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Is participating in riba transactions considered major sin to Muslim and non-Muslims as well? Interesting question. We have sins in Islam, not all sins at the same level, not all good deeds at the same level. Not everything is equal. Everything has its own place. When it comes to sins, we have major sins and we have minor sins. The biggest of all sins is the shirku billah, is to have partners with Allah, is to associate others with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No other sin is equal to that. And then we have major sins that are the biggest after shirk billah, and those will be almost equal. Drinking wine, one of them, being alcoholic, or having anything to remove your power of mental capacity that Allah given you, and one of them is usury. Any sin, what is the definition of al-kabira? Any sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatened hellfire for the doer of that, or that He will curse the one who do that, or he will deserve the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or there is a prescribed punishment for it. Riba has many of that. Allah cursed the one who do riba. Allah said that He will wage a war, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about fire and other punishments for the person who does so. It's one of the major sins. Is it haram for non-Muslims? That goes back to non-Muslims. Are they addressed with furu' al-sharia? Are they, Allah addressing them with prayers? What about prayers, fasting, things like that? They are being addressed by Islam in the first place, that they should accept Islam as the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Included in that are all the details. The ayah in Surah Al-Muddathir, Allah said, إِلَّا أَصْحَابَ الْيَمِينِ فِي جَنَّاتٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ. The believers will end up being in Jannah, and they will ask and wonder about the criminals. And what brought you to Jahannam, to Saqar, to the hellfire? They will say, قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We were not amongst those who pray. So it looks like they were, now they were being held account by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for not praying, for not doing little details. Yes, they are supposed to do that, but in the first place they are supposed to, before that they are supposed to accept Islam. Or and subhanallah, many of the Western countries, take the example of Britain for example, after the recession in 2008, many of these were looking for other alternatives, of economic alternatives, and many of them were adopting the Islamic solution, because it gives you an alternative for a real economy versus the bubble economy that bursts every now and then, if that makes sense. Brother Sharif, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. If anybody has a question, feel free. Jazakumullah khair wa iyyakum, Brother Hamid. If anybody has a comment, question, something is not clear, feel free to put it right now, inshallah. Still have a few more minutes and I can answer these questions if I can, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. I open this page, I have several pages, live streaming to several pages. Please put your questions. Let me check the YouTube as well. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Send salah and salam to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and family and companions and everybody. يا شيخ جمعة منور نورك يا حبيبي, الله يرضى عنا وعنك. May Allah bless you يا حبيبنا. طيب, giving you a few more seconds inshallah if you have any questions. We may come back to these confusing points or points that are mixed, because many of us might not get the chance, have gotten the chance to study the basics of even the rules of Islam, which is there in the Quran, but we live in certain cultures, countries, we grow up, we think that this is how it should be done in Islam. No. Samsuddin Patel, mashallah, jazakallah khair, Sheikh Adil. If you have any question, if you're Sheikh Adil, go ahead and put it, inshallah. There was another point. Tomorrow, what time masjid is open? The masjid is open for prayers. We're open akhi for prayers every day. Fajr these days in Salam, 4:45 a.m., 4:45 a.m. Fajr, Isha 10:30 p.m. and all other prayers were open. Jum'ah we're open, 5 daily prayers we're open as well. That's for Brother Imran Bashir. Barakallahu feek. Jazakallah khair, Brother Nouri. What's the ruling of getting married again after divorce? After divorce, for the man and the woman, you can get married again. There's no limit for that. There is just some couple of things in here. After divorce in Islam, and again, what is divorce in Islam? In Islam, a woman does not divorce a man. In the culture here, oh, I divorced him. There's no divorce. You don't divorce him. The right of divorce in Islam is only for the man. But that does not mean the woman does not have the right to opt out of the marriage. She does have the right to opt out of the marriage, but it's not called divorce. So a woman would never divorce a man. Only a man can divorce a woman. Divorce is a right for the man. It's at his discretion. It is supposed to be done for the right purposes, the right causes. He's not supposed to abuse that right of severing and ending the marriage relationship. He's supposed to do it for the right causes. That's one thing. Maybe that's not the question. We can talk about more details later. But if the woman also feels that she doesn't want to continue, she should have a valid reason. Without a valid reason, even legally, she can get out of this marriage. But ethically and religiously, she is not supposed to get out of the marriage without a valid reason. She has to report to Allah about that because she is destroying a family, basically. Same for him. The thing is, what if she has valid reasons to not continue, and he doesn't want to divorce? First, she goes to him, divorce me. Let's end it. Bil ma'roof, in the kind way. If he doesn't want, there are other ways. She can go to the court, the Islamic court, go to the imam. She can file for the divorce with the court here in America or anywhere first, and then get the Islamic divorce. She can opt out. We have different ways. After, and she will have a waiting period. Let's say the divorce happened, the man divorced. You're divorced. If it's irrevocable, it's revocable, he can take it back 2 times. Like he divorces his wife, I was angry, I didn't really mean it, it counts. At all cases it counts, with only one little exception that does not apply to 99% of the cases. I'm not going to even mention it. Many people think I was angry. Yes, everybody will be angry as you are divorcing. You're not going to be just like having coffee and you're divorced. No. You will be angry. The only one case, the only one single exclusive case is if somebody got angry in such a way that he does not know and does not remember what he said. If you ask him later, if you tell him later, you divorced your wife 5 minutes ago, he said, no, I didn't. Like he was totally in ighlaq. I have not seen any case like that, but it may happen that somebody gets totally out of control, out of sense, out of even not realizing what's happening, basically. Maybe it is there. أعلى درجات الغضب. Somebody gets so much extremely angry that he says something, they said, you said it. He said, no, I didn't. And he means it, he's not lying. That is the only case. But in other cases, you divorce your wife. Yes, I divorced. I know exactly what I said. I know I did it, but I didn't really want to. I didn't mean to. No, that does not sell. We don't buy. It's not a joke. Word divorce is so sacred. Women, don't request it for no reason. Men, don't play with it. Do not. Kalimatullah. It's the word of Allah. You don't want to play with that. طيب. Waiting period. If he announces it, he can take it the first time. He can take it the second time, and he will count. Third time, if it happens, he cannot take it back. If he announces it it will depend on the situation of the woman. Within certain period, it's still hanging there. It's not final right away. Divorce is not final. In most cases, 3 months. 3 periods. If the woman still has the period, it's going to be 3 periods after that, with some technical differences. When exactly did he announce the divorce? But generally speaking, 3 periods. Within 3 periods, technically around 3 months, he can take it back. If he decides, and it's only up to him, وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ. بُعُولَتُهُنَّ, their husbands have the right to get them back within that period. And I said before, if she doesn't want to continue, she has her ways, options of opting out. But we're talking about now, he announced the divorce, waiting period is there. If he decided not to take the divorce back, 3 months or 3 periods are gone, or if she's pregnant, it's by giving birth, even if it's after 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, giving birth done, or 3 months done, then she's free. She can get married to anyone again. She can get married to him again. And it's going to be also the second he divorced her once, if it was the first time. Build on that. If he divorces again, maximum he has revocable 2. After that, no. She can get married. So he can get married too. Right? They can get married again for the first time, after the first divorce, after the second divorce. After the third divorce, they cannot get married unless she goes and get married normally, and if divorce happen afterwards, they can get back together, not before that. And kids from previous marriage, what about them? That's okay. It's going to go back to what do you want to do? Share them with the father, with you for a little bit. It depends on the situation. It depends on what you want to do. what both of you want to do. But in all cases, kids are financially the responsibility of the father. Kids are the financial responsibility of the father. That is to be clear. What is the ruling? I think I answered this question if I get it right, and I answer based on what I understood, inshallah. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Sam, maybe Sister Samia or something, Abdul Jawad. What are the rights of a husband and wife if the husband lives and has lived prior to marriage states away in US? I mean, specifically, what is the wife supposed to be doing for her husband Islamically if she is unable to see him often enough, especially due to Corona? I got the question. Scholars talked about this. Both of them have psychological and physical and financial rights over each other, or, you know, they are involved in the marriage. But you have the right to be with your husband and him not being away. Obviously, if he's forced to be away, that's different from him choosing to be away. They are not the same. But even if he's forced to be away, there are some limits for that, and scholars disagree or various opinions about that. But generally speaking, you're talking within 4 months, and that's ijtihadi. There's nothing here clear-cut or Quran or Sunnah. Some of the scholars, Umar ibn al-Khattab and others, they decided that as an advice that the maximum a husband can be away from the wife is 4 months. And again, it goes back to her. Maybe she's okay with that. Maybe she understands that that's his job. Maybe somebody works in a ship overseas, and the ship goes around the world, and he needs more month, or in the military or something. We have to be understanding. That's life. Yes, you have rights, but maybe, and you have rights in cases like this to maybe opt out of the marriage. That could be one of the very valid cases. If you cannot, you have needs, you have rights, you cannot make it. But first of all, try to be patient. Yes, marriage is about rights and responsibilities for both of them, but it does not mean with the first time the husband fails or the wife fails to do some of the duties that's it, she fails, he fails. That's not marriage. We're supposed to help each other, be patient. But if it becomes such a chronic thing for you that you are not capable of taking life anymore, affecting your life, affecting your iffah, you being alone, needing protection, needing physical contact, if it's unbearable for you, yes, you have the right to request him, come back to me. Come back to me. Like I said, it was suggested by some scholars like Umar, maximum 4 months, based on the iddah and other things, and asking Hafsa, his daughter, you think how long do you think a woman can be away from her husband, if that makes sense. So yes, you have to be patient with him. Depends on the situation, the condition, his work. But if it's something beyond his or beyond your own, whatever you can take, whatever you can afford, then it might be a right basis for divorce. And I always encourage against divorce. Work something out. Take the challenge and let the marriage work. And then if it's really seriously, after taking all the measurements to make it work, it doesn't work, then choice is always yours. Wallahu a'lam, if that helps. Does a mother have a saying in whom we can marry? Very good question. My mother, would she have a say in who to get married? I think I conclude with this question. Bismillah. So, parents, families, and marriage. Whether it is totally my decision, I am getting married, it's my decision. You cannot, it's mine. It's the person I would live with, it's my life. Nobody ever has any saying into that. It's my life. I choose, whatever I go by. That's one scenario. Or I have no opinion. I grow up in a culture that my dad picks up for me, my mom picks up for me. Whatever the family chooses for me, that I have to go by that. I have no option. That's another scenario. Neither one of them is right in Islam. Neither one is right. Islam is a religion of life, making things go normally with the fitrah. The first one, my life, my freedom, my this, my that, is wrong. You're not right. You're not right. Boy or girl, you're not ethically, communally, socially right. Because this is the same person who took care of you, and I'm talking about normal people. I'm not talking about a psycho father, psycho mother. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about exceptions. I'm talking about normal people. Parents will prefer you over themselves, will make sure that they choose the best for you. They would give up their life for you. Those are your parents. You come and you say your opinion is not important. I think you have to rethink it. No, their opinion is important. Their opinion is important because, believe it or not, they may know you, especially girls, better than you know yourself. They may, I'm saying they may. But what I'm sure about, they have more experience in life than you. Logically, I'm starting a new business. I just jump, take a plunge into it, or consult with people who have experience in that field. You should consult with people who have experience. What could be more of a project or business than marriage, than getting, especially if it's the first time? What could be more important than that? It's a new land, a new area that you're getting into. And who is closer to you? Do you think your friends? Take advice from your friends, but no. Friends can turn and stab you. Friends can take your husband from you or wife from you. Friends can do everything. No, I'm not here to say friends are bad, but no, they may. Parents, no. They will die for you. Take their advice. Consider it. But on the other hand, parents, you're not dictators. These kids are not your property. Give the advice, help them, work out with them. You try to facilitate things for them. And also in the meantime, kids, especially daughters, who usually go with the word, the nice words, sweet words, think they are mature. You're not mature. You're not mature. You're thinking scientifically. You are thinking by emotions. And men out there, I'm a man. They will give you some words to chew on and play in your emotions, and you really need help when it comes to that. It's like a fish, somebody's giving you bait, a lure attracting you. I'm not saying that all men are bad, no, but you will not be able to fully 100%, maybe, not making the most appropriate decision for you if you are in love, for example. If you are under emotional thing, it's sentiments, love, emotion, you need help. So how far can they get? Yes, they can have a say, but not to control the marriage, not to dictate, but rather to help, to support, to give advice. And kids, I'm talking about sound family. I'm not talking about fighting. خلاص إذا حصل التنازع, they would go, okay, thank you, mama. I'm not going to take anything from you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sound families with people growing up together, with people respecting those who invested their lives for them and trusting them as well. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mother Bahrami. And yeah, I think probably a few more minutes for Isha, inshallah. Now, SH, would you please, that's a question on YouTube, would you please advise the Muslim brothers and sisters regarding to marriage that they should more care about religion and character than money and apparently beauty? Jazakallahu khair. Thank you. Asking me to give advice or highlight the importance of religion when you choose. Yes, that is very important. Look for religion and look for character. Look for akhlaq. Look for mannerisms. Look for, these ethical, these good things. That's what that's the basis. But not ignore the other factors. The Prophet ﷺ said, تُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةُ لِأَرْبَعٍ. A woman would be interested in for marriage. People would be interested in women for marriage for 4 qualities. لِمَالِهَا, for her money, property. She has a lot of money. جَمَالِهَا, for her beauty, beautiful. Attracted to her because of beauty. Or حَسَبِهَا, or نَسَبِهَا, the lineage. Good family, such a prestigious family. وَلِدِينِهَا, and for her religion. فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ, when and get the one of the deen, the one who has the deen, the religion, the religious person. تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ لَيْسَ دُعَاء عَلَيْهِمْ وَإِنَّمَا يَعْنِي, or else you would be losing. Scholars said it's not to ignore the woman with money, but it's not to make this the basis. Look first at the religion. She is religious? Oh yeah. I have 5 people religious. But yeah, this one is religious and beautiful too. Maybe this one is religious, beautiful, and from very good family too. This one is religious, very religious, beautiful, from a good family and has a lot of money. Give me her contacts to share it with people who need marriage. MashaAllah. So that is the, I'm quoting this from a sheikh, from one of my sheikh. He used to say that if you know the woman that has a good religion, beautiful, has money, from a good family, he used to say, quote unquote, give me her contacts. May Allah bless you all with good spouses, and bless your spouses and our spouses. Allahumma ameen. Wa dhurriyatina ya Rabbil Alameen. I hope that answers all the questions that I can see, inshallah. And yes, فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ, focus on the one that has the deen, the religion, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bless the marriage. Otherwise, these other things could be not a blessing, but dooming your relationship. Wallahu a'lam. Jazakumullahu khair. Inshallah, every day from Monday after Maghrib, around 9 p.m. Sacramento time, North California time. Every night, Monday, we will have Quran Majlis. Tuesday, we'll have Aqidah, or Essentials of Faith and Creed, Islamic Creed Majlis session. And Wednesday, I will have the Fiqh Majlis, the jurisprudence, Islamic jurisprudence. We're talking about nikah, rules of nikah or marriage. On Thursday, I have Seerah. I wasn't able to make it yesterday. I'm sorry for that. I had a long meeting. But Seerah will resume, will continue, inshallah, the life of the Prophet ﷺ every Thursday after Maghrib, sunset, and Friday night like this, open session. Bring your questions, Islamic questions, and I'll try my best to answer them and share advices and things like that. Burika fikum, jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah bless you all for following. Keep me in your dua. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.